This is Facilities Jeopardy! Please welcome today's contestants, Roger Baczynski, Pam Elliot Cain, and last but not least, Sherry Tone.
So I'm going to go to the last category, which is smooth operator. And Pam, you're up for the $100 question, smooth operator. Since 2009, facilities operating budgets, this is the budgets for maintenance, custodial, and grounds, have increased by this percentage annually. Since 2009.
Do I get a range here?
Yeah, you could have. I'm going to give you a couple percentage points. Oh. So, and if you want, you can. You haven't asked for some help from the audience yet, so you could do that. If you could get a sense as to you want to
yes,
ask for some help. Okay.
Please.
Yes, sir. 3%. Okay. Anybody else? 5%. Anybody else? Other ideas? Yes. Zero. Okay. So we got it narrowed down, 0 to 5%. Somebody said. What did somebody else say? 2. Did I hear 2 over here?
Yeah.
2. Well, what do you think? You got to pick one.
Oh, what is? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
And I get a range of 5%, you said?
No.
What is? Okay.
I'm going to give you a range of 1%.
What is 2%?
I will accept that. It's actually a little bit over 1% has been the results. If you take a look at this, you go up. And actually, that's not even the covering inflation. So you should, on your campus by and large, have less staff because you're paying them negotiated salary increases. Healthcare benefits are up 5 to 10% a year, but operating budgets are only going up about 1% a year. And you can see what's also interesting, if those of you who are in the public sector think the private sector are pretty good fat cats over there in terms of operating budgets. Not true. It's almost exactly the same spending. You know, it's in pennies a square foot. So it's not as though we've got, the public institutions are tightening the belt and the privates are wealthy. We've got a wide range of people on our campuses on our database. So good. So let's now go to the $500 question. So one of the things that we do when we measure operating expenses is look at the daily service budget, maintenance, custodial, grounds, the calls that people get on work orders, versus planned and preventive maintenance. And everybody knows that we'd like to do more planned and preventive maintenance. So the best practice campuses out there spend this percentage of their daily service budget on planned and preventive maintenance work. And I'll give you a range of 5% on this. So the best practices, the best of the best, what are they doing differently than the rest of us are doing?
Well, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I would.
Do you know what you're doing at
Well, we've
Iowa
increased
State?
it substantially over the last 7 years, and we've almost doubled it.
Right.
And
So where are you at now?
we're just under 4%. So.
Okay. So you go consider yourself a best practice then.
Well, not yet. We're getting there.
Okay.
Our goal is to get there, and I think our goal is about 9%. So, what is 10%?
10%, 10 to 14% would be actually a good thing. So you're within 5%. That actually you see that planned maintenance is a percentage of daily service budgets for the best of the best. Started around 14, 15. Actually, is up as much as 17, 18. But on average, the best of the best campuses that we work with across the campus, about 14, 15%. So we're going to agree that you're within that 5% range, and an excellent goal to be setting for having that 9% of daily service. So that's important to think about how much planned and preventive maintenance, be able to measure how much you're doing on your campus, because if all you're doing is reacting to service calls all the time, you're not doing much to get ahead of the problem. Okay, so let's go to the $500 question. These strategies can help improve expenditure quality, the quality, not just total dollars, but the quality of the expenditures within the operating budget. And there's, again, a multiple choice question. So using work orders to track performance and improve productivity, integrate your deferred maintenance planning with operating priorities, target energy reductions by recycling savings into the facilities budget. Sherry talked about fuel switching, obviously save some money doing that, or increasing planned and preventive maintenance. So again, there can be multiple right answers, and if you want, I'll let you ask the audience for some opinions on this. Engage the audience.
All right. How many think A, using the work order system? Yay, it's all of them, okay.
You think it's all of them, okay? Is that the consensus? do you
Sounds
think?
good. What is A, B, C, and D?
Yeah, it is all of them, and that's what the best practice institutions, in fact, are. They're studying their work order system, and they're making sure that they could track the performance and productivity. They're integrating deferred maintenance with operating priorities because they want to make sure that, we work for one campus, for example, that found that 5% of all their work orders were in one single building. And that building, to fix the systems that were causing the problems, would have only required 1% of the capital budget. So they did it and eliminated a lot of work orders. And targeting the energy reductions, which, I do want to ask if I've got a minute here. Do I have a couple minutes yet? I want to ask you guys about that because we see some campuses taking energy reductions and recycling them in the operating budget as sort of a reward to the operators doing better. But the question is, are you doing that on your campus, or do you, as CFOs, sweep that money up to balance the budget another way?
At Millersville, what we did, we do energy audits, and when we do the energy audit, we use the savings to cover the bond. We get low interest, 2-3% bonds, and the difference I put back into the operating budget.
Interesting. Pam,
At
comment on
Iowa
that?
State, we have a responsibility center management. And so if the departments, they pay for our square footage, they pay for their own utilities. If they save the money, they get to keep it. So so they have a invested interest to save money in their facilities through energy decreases.
Jerry?
At PLU, we've had some of the lowest electric rates in the country over time. We still have among the lowest electric rates in the country, but unfortunately they've gone up by a couple of cents a kilowatt hour over the last few years. So that means that the electric bill has been growing in spite of our conservation initiatives with the number of kilowatt hours going down. So we have not seen as much savings in the electric bill as we would like. We have seen more savings in the natural gas bill. So we've plowed some of that money back into additional conservation projects, and down the road we hope that there's more of that, but we've really got to control those electric bills because of the growth in the cost of our electricity. And it's going to continue to go up because we currently still only pay 5 cents a kilowatt hour.
Lucky people. So when we look at the operating budget, when we look at the operating budgets overall, I think it's a pretty good assumption as CFOs to be thinking that your operating budgets for facilities are going to be flat. That you're not going to see any significant infusions of money if you're a public institution for the state or you're board and private to say we're going to spend a lot more money. So we're kind of assuming that you kind of have to become more efficient and more effective with the dollars you have. So thinking about how to reallocate the time and resources, how to incentivize, which I thought was kind of interesting, they both talked about incentivizing the operators and people on campus to be able to get rewarded for conservation and activities like that, and also looking at taking that money and putting it in planned and preventive work, and also thinking about projects, because if you integrate that deferred maintenance planning, which you talked about in backlog, with the operating priorities, I think these things are all going to work together in a better way, and you're going to make more progress on your deferred maintenance as well as lower your operating costs. A lot of it is about reducing overhead in the long run, and that's what we're going to try to think about.